No, it's not. Not at all. I'm sorry for baiting you all into the video with that title, but man, do I just need to rant about Clair Obscur Expedition 33 just for a little bit. This video will contain pretty much no spoilers for the game, and I'll just generally be talking about what makes this game just as amazing as people have been preaching, without really talking about much past the game's first couple of hours. All I can say to get us started is that if you haven't picked this game up or tried it for yourself, I just can't recommend it enough. This game is truly incredible in everything it attempts, and it's easily one of the greatest RPGs I've ever played. I've had my eye on this game since it was showcased last year at the Xbox event, and I pre-ordered it months prior, eagerly awaiting for its inevitable release. I want to start my little ramble about the game by first talking about the game's jaw-dropping and absolutely gorgeous visuals and presentation, so let us get right into it. Off the bat, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is one of the most beautiful games I have ever played, and I'm not exaggerating with that. The game's art style from the very first moments you enter Lumiere blows you away, with the world exploding with color and detail. Towering cathedrals, sprawling marketplaces bustling with life, and beautifully painted pastel skies create a world that truly feels ethereal. It just has this gorgeous painting-esque art style that makes every environment, character, and moment in this game an absolute joy to just look at. The sheer magnitude of the game's wide and fantastical vistas consistently left me awestruck, from the game's sweeping mountain ranges to truly intricate city alleyways glowing under painted skies. The environments in this game are so diverse and creative, but it's not just the world that's breathtaking, but even its characters are just so well designed, with distinct faces and clothing that makes them really stand out against each other. The facial animations in this game are top notch, making the entire experience of venturing through Expedition 33 a totally immersive ride of emotions. The characters all feel believable, and I'll discuss that properly in the next section of the video, but facial animations and the art style of the game are really such important aspects in making that possible. The game's UI in normal exploration and dialogue is just so simple and elegant, and when it switches to combat, oh man is the HUD just so vibrant and flashy, really making the entire combat experience just that much better. Even in combat, that same artistic flair gushes and comes alive. Each spell and attack erupts in a vibrant splash of color and force. Every dodge, parry, and strike is so animated with pure fluidity that makes the fights feel choreographed but also player driven and led. Without a doubt, this game's presentational value is truly off the roof, and it really is one of the best looking games I have ever played, and I assure you that you're going to be absolutely awestruck the first time you boot up the game and step into the beautiful and haunting world of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Sorry, I had to edit this in while editing the video, and I can't believe I forgot to mention the game's OST. I would just say that it's so captivating, beautiful, and it really brings the atmosphere of this game to another level. So yeah, on top of just being a masterpiece itself, it's also got an amazing OST to boot. Like I said at the very start of this video will pretty much contain no spoilers for the game, except maybe for the first hour or two. The game's story setup is fantastic from the very onset. If you haven't already read a synopsis or premise of the game's story, essentially the game has a distinct number painted in the sky, which is also the reason there's a 33 in the title. This essentially is the plot of the entire game, where each year an entity known as the Paintress emerges for the yearly Gommage, lowering the number by one, causing everyone of that particular age to vanish from existence altogether. Every year, the people of Lumiere have sent expeditions in order to find the Paintress and take her down once and for all, to allow the people to live truly free and unrestricted by the bounds of age. We play as Expedition 33 in their hunt to find the Paintress and solve the mystery of the Gommage and put a stop to it once and for all. It's a super interesting yet pretty simple setup for a fantasy-esque story. But what really elevates the game's narrative to heights I haven't seen in any game I have played since Red Dead Redemption 2 is the great writing on full display in every sequence. Of course, as I won't be going into spoilers, I would just say that the game's writing from the very moment you boot up the game and play a few minutes will just get you so insanely hooked into finding out the mystery of the Paintress and working with the rest of your expedition to solve this problem forever. The game's hook is fantastic, and I guarantee that once you play just an hour of Expedition 33, you'll be raving to jump back in just to see how the game's story continues to progress and wind, as the writing is just so superb, with fantastic plot twists and moments that truly elevate the game's story to one of the best in the entire medium. But for me, what has really sold the game's narrative and its writing prowess is the way every character in this game is so wonderfully written. Every character in this game, from Gustave to Maël to Lune, are so well written and presented, and the dialogue between these characters has been my favorite part of every session I've had with the game so far. It feels so extremely natural in its dialogue, allowing the characters to truly feel alive, to breathe and really live in this world created by the wonderful developers of Sandfall Interactive. One moment that I won't spoil in particular, but they just told me that this game was going to be an absolute masterpiece, was when two characters in dialogue broke up each other's sentences, constantly interrupting and breaking the flow of each other's points. That just felt so human and natural. It may seem like a super minor thing to point out, but it's these small factors that build up characters and dialogue that truly feel human and grounded. If you've been hesitating about checking out this game even just a little bit and are in the mind for an absolutely fantastic, magical and grounded story, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has all of that covered and so much more. Now, I know I've been going off about every aspect of this game, but every part of it is just so equally well done and fantastic that it's just so hard not to rave. Anyway, I think it's time to talk a little bit about the game's gameplay. We'll start with some brief discussion about general exploration before we dive into the true meat of the game, that being the game's incredible and innovative combat. To start, exploration in this game is truly accentuated by the game's previously mentioned great art style and environmental design that makes exploring every location and landmark in this world a treat in every way. The vistas of this game are some of the best you're going to get in any fantasy game out there, and exploration truly benefits from this fact. The game's exploration is pretty amazing too, as you'll be venturing around these large open-ended areas, with all of them filled to the brim with small secrets and details to find around every nook and cranny, with different treasures, enemies and boss fights to find. There is just so much to do outside of the game's main quest in the game's various areas, but none of this content in terms of exploration feels bloated or just forced upon you in any way. Really, it's just there for you to have some more content to delve into, which trust me, you're going to want to do due to how captivating and fantastical this game's world truly is. Now, let's quickly talk about what we really care about here, and that's the game's fantastic and innovative turn-based combat style. Combat encounters in this game can be started in two ways, either by you approaching an enemy and launching an attack on them to start the combat sequence, or an enemy doing the same to you. If you've ever played any turn-based game, you'll know how it goes. You and your party have your turn, and then the enemy has theirs, and this goes back and forth until one party comes out victorious. But what this game has everyone talking about in terms of its combat is that its combat mixes the turn-based combat with real-time mechanics that give this game a much more interactive and intensive feel and an incredibly fun combat flow. And no, it doesn't do this like how Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does it, where the gameplay is pretty much action-based, but you can do spells and switch between characters in combat that make it still have that turn-based Final Fantasy flair. I love that game's combat system, but Clair Obscur sticks to the turn-based roots completely. It's a turn-based game in and out, but it allows you to do stuff in real time, such as dodging the enemy's attack, parrying their attack and countering, and even jumping over their attack to perform a counter with your entire party. It's just as fun as it sounds, making the usually slow and repetitive nature of turn-based combat into a system that keeps you moving on your toes, waiting for the perfect timing in order to swiftly dodge your way out of an enemy's attack or to parry them Sekiro style to engage yourself in a truly skill-based and rewarding and risky combat flow. Now, I don't really want to say much more about the game's combat because I think it's really just not done justice in just showing or talking about it to you, as you've really got to experience it for yourself, and I highly recommend that you do this if you're a fan of RPGs in any capacity. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious from my rambling about this game that this game is definitely not overhyped in any way, and every bit of hype this game has is so well deserved and more. The developers at Sandfall Interactive have truly pulled off a miracle of a game, with their passion and hard work shining through every moment you step into the fantastic world of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Anyway, that's all from me for today's video. If you did enjoy, please consider subbing to the channel for more RPG focused content, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.